Hi, my name is Allison McLeod. I'm a physical exercise specialist with the Canadian Forces Ottawa-Gatineau base. I'm very excited for you to watch these solid foundation videos, but before you participate, please take the time to read the disclaimer. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Solid Foundation video series. In this series, we're going to go over joints that are commonly seen by the reconditioning team and educate you on their range of motion and how to activate those joints. The purpose of this is to then teach you how to integrate that knowledge into your PT sessions. Today's video, we're going to go over the shoulder joint. We're going to go over how to properly activate your shoulder joint to prepare you for PT. This video is in succession to a shoulder joint range of motion video. If you haven't seen that video yet, please take the time to do so. As mentioned before, the shoulder joint, it looks very similar to a golf ball on a tee, and this allows for a great range of motion. However, for a greater range of motion, you need a lot of stability and control because the risk of injury is higher. We're going to take the time now to go over how you can properly activate that joint and strengthen it and protect it, and you have to have good control through its range of motion and during exercises. So today, we have Camille helping again. We're going to start by reviewing some range of motion exercises from the previous video. We're going to start with a pec mash. We're going to do this for 45 seconds each side. What she's going to do is use a mobility ball, put it on her pec, and massage it out. She's going to massage along her collarbone and into the medial part of the pec. Notice how she's using it with her hand. She has great control over how much pressure she can use during this activation or mobilization exercise rather. You can also go up against the wall and use your body weight to increase the pressure for this particular exercise. Or you can go on the ground. That way you have your body weight and gravity to aid you in getting deeper into this exercise. You got 5 more seconds. Good, we're gonna switch sides now. So while she's doing this, she's taking nice deep breaths. She's making sure her shoulders aren't shrugging up, just trying to relax her muscles. So we're mobilizing and we're kind of massaging out the pec muscles to allow for a little bit more give, a little less tension on the front part of our joint so that our back muscles can activate properly and activate with less resistance. These muscles tend to be quite tight on people as you spend a lot of time driving, at a desk, and just kind of in a stooped posture in general. You got 5 more seconds. All right, you're done. So now we're going to go over some exercises that were in the previous video, but we're not going to go as in depth. So as I mentioned before, please take the time to go to that video and do those exercises before continuing on with this one. We're going to do scapular protraction and retraction, meaning sliding our shoulder blades together and pushing them apart. We're going to do this in a quadruped position. So we'll get on your hands and knees. Make sure your hands are below your shoulders, knees are below your hips. Take a nice deep breath and brace that core. We want to make sure that our lumbar spine, our lower back doesn't move. All the movement happens in this region. So keeping your arms straight, you're going to press your chest towards the ground, allowing your shoulder blades to squeeze together, and then push away, having them slide as far apart as you can. We're going to do 5 reps of this. Nice, slow, and controlled. Make sure you're paying attention to your lower back. Do not let that compromise and arch with this movement. Notice how her shoulder blades aren't sliding up towards her ears. All the movement is happening at the shoulder blade level. Next exercise we're going to do, scapular elevation and depression, or rather have your shoulder blades slide up and slide back down. To do this, you're going to need to put your arms out thumbs pointing up to the ceiling. You're going to start by rolling your arms forward, allowing your shoulder blades to rise, and then you're going to roll them all the way back as far as you can and having your shoulder blades scoop. You're going to do 5 each direction. Very similar to the previous exercise. Brace that core. We're mobilizing your scapula and your thoracic spine, not mobilizing your lumbar spine by letting it arch. Take nice, long, deep breaths. Really have good control over this movement. All right, the next exercise, we're going to do thoracic rotation. However, we're going to do a progression of this from the previous video. So instead of lying down, you're going to be in a quadruped position with your hips back. So you're going to sit your hips back onto your knees, locking it in. Good, hands underneath your shoulders. You're going to have your hand on the nape of your neck. You're going to bring your shoulder down to the ground and then open all the way up. Your goal is to get your shoulder pointing all the way up to the ceiling. We are going to do 10 each side. You can move with your breathing with this. Inhaling on the way down, exhaling as you're getting to the end range of motion. You may not be able to get your elbow all the way up to the ceiling when you first start this. That's okay. You can just keep working on increasing that range of motion. So now she's switching sides, doing 10 on this side. Cam here has great range of motion, but you may notice that one side doesn't necessarily rotate as much as the other, and that's okay. We are not perfectly symmetrical. As long as you work on it, you will eventually reach something that's very similar to both sides. Okay, so now we're going to activate the muscles a little bit, the little muscles that fine-tune the movement in our shoulders. We're going to take some time to strengthen them and activate them. So using a very light band, you're going to do some banded pass-throughs, 10 of them. So she's going to bring the band from the front, lift it up over her head, behind her back, and then back forward. That's it. So if you feel as if this is challenging and you need to bend your arm to get behind your head, widen your grip, okay? The band allows for some laxity that you can stretch it a little bit further. We're just trying to open everything up. You may feel your pecs feel a little bit tight. That's okay. Once again, not compromising that stable lower back to do this movement. Very good. Taking nice, long, deep breaths. Do not rush this movement. Everything should be deliberate. As your mobility increases, you may find that you're able to hold a little bit closer together on the elastic band. So now we're going to do three-way band tear aparts. So the first way, so to speak, starts in front of you. So you're going to have your hands right in front of your thighs, holding the band at a pretty reasonable tension. And you're going to tear them apart, lifting your arms, squeezing your back to pull it up and bring it back down. If that's too difficult, give yourself a little bit more lax with the resistance band. One thing I want you to notice is that her shoulders aren't shrugging, right? She's really using her back to make this movement occur. We tend to overuse our traps by shrugging and pulling up, And what this does is it hinders the smaller muscles in our back to activate properly and actually makes them weaker because the big, strong muscles always overcompensate. After doing 5, we're going to the second direction. We're straight out in front of you. Squeeze your back, pull your arms apart, and bring it back. Once again, the shoulders are not shrugging. The arms are staying fairly straight, not locked out, but they're not bending for this motion. So you're going to do 5 here as well, and then we're going to go to the third direction of the band tear apart. So you're going to start up overhead, and you're going to bring it to your chest, keeping your arms fairly straight, allowing for a little bit maybe more of a bend than before, and back up. Feeling now this a little bit lower in your back. Once again, shoulders aren't shrugging too much. They may shrug a bit as you bring it up. That's okay. We're doing 5 here as well. Pay attention to what your lower back is doing. Are you arching to compensate for this movement? Really brace your core. Next, what we're going to do is external rotation, 10 each side. So you can anchor something nice and low. Make sure that when you anchor the band on something, that it's stable. You don't want it coming back at you. By now, you should feel like your muscles in your back are really quite activated. So she is in a kneeling position, keeping her elbow by her side, shoulders down and back. She is going to externally rotate her arm, rather bring her arm out and bring it back. Notice how she's not allowing the band to whip her hand back. She's controlling both aspects of the movement. What she's doing a really good job of is she's nice and still here behind her shoulder. She's keeping that scapula or shoulder blade anchored so that other muscles can do the work. What's your core doing right now? Are you arching your lower back, or is it in a nice braced and neutral position? You're going to do 10 on this side, and then we'll do 10 on the other. Here, what we'll do is we'll move this over like this. So as you go through this, you should feel your back is really quite activated. And that's what we want going into a workout, right? We want our muscles to be ready. Like your muscles, if they're cold, they won't work properly. It's like taking a steak out of the freezer and expecting it to be pliable. It's going to be quite rigid, and it's going to need time for it to warm up so that it's able to be soft and, well, in our case, so that we can move it. In a steak's case, maybe not so much. So the exercises provided in this video are really important for controlling your joint through its range of motion. So I urge you to do this video a few times, really strengthen the joint, really set it in the appropriate place. And then as you go and do your PT, come back to these exercises and use them to activate and warm up for your workouts, especially ones that include a lot of upper body exercises. That way your muscles will be primed and ready to go to workout. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in more, please subscribe to this channel.